What's going on? Welcome back to another episode. I wanted to do a quick update. If you haven't heard the news, Jamal Murray officially has a torn ACL. He has a torn ACL in his left knee, and he is out indefinitely. And I want to do a quick video just so we can talk about what does that mean for the Denver Nuggets? What does that mean for the Western Conference for the rest of this year? What does that mean for Nikola Jokic MVP chances? And what does it mean for Michael Porter Jr.? But also now, what does it mean for the Nuggets going forward? So, best case scenario, Jamal Murray has a terrific recovery. The great thing is about ACL tears is that we live in an era of science and medicine where ACL tears are not near as bad as they used to be. You're able to come back from them a lot quicker, a lot sooner than you used to. But again, they're no fun for anybody. ACL tears, again, you can have a great story like Adrian Peterson where you have a superhuman-like recovery where you can come back from an ACL tear 6 months later, have a MVP season in 2012 like he did and run for almost 2,100 yards in the NFL. So it can definitely possible. But ACL tears with basketball athletes, I mean, you could have a rehab that's going on from, again, this is the fourth month of the year in April, one that extends all the way up and through January of next year, which would be about 8 months. And again, if it goes on even longer, you could even look at that kind of like a year going into April, going into March. So there's a lot of implications for this. The first things first, we want Jamal Murray to get back right. Jamal Murray was having a career year across the board. We want Jamal Murray to have what he needs. Jamal Murray needs to heal up quickly, so we pray for his speedy recovery, that he gets what he needs, that he's able to continue to recover as quick and as soon as possible, that the tendon comes back together well for him, that he doesn't have to have any lingering issues beyond this year or even into next year. So Jamal Murray, it's unfortunate in the worst way. No one wanted this around the NBA, especially not the Nuggets fans, not if you're Canadian as well. So Jamal Murray is going to be out. The implications for the Denver Nuggets as a team. Right now, the Western Conference is stacked. Obviously, you have the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, the Clippers, then the Nuggets, then the Lakers. Then you got the Portland Trail Blazers, Dallas Mavericks, and Memphis Grizzlies. The Nuggets are going to have to figure out what they're going to do. Mike Singer from the Denver Post reported that the Denver Nuggets were looking at, as of yesterday, before the game, they were looking at Austin Rivers as a potential backup point guard. And so I would think, in my estimation, it's more than likely that Austin Rivers gets signed to the Denver Nuggets. I think you're going to have to try to replicate, not completely, but replicate what Jamal Murray gives you with the scoring and the three-point shooting and the playmaking. Monte Morris is a viable point guard, but again, Monte Morris is also 6'2", frail. That's not somebody you want going into the playoffs, starting every single game. Facu Campazzo, again, because his shooting is so hit or miss, and he's also really small, you don't want to have that as your second option at all times. So I do think Austin Rivers likely gets signed for the Denver Nuggets. I think Monte Morris will continue to start. I think Austin at some point could start, so Monte can fill that secondary position. So I would look forward Austin Rivers coming. I think the Denver Nuggets can stay afloat. I think they have a good enough team to stay in the 4th seed, maybe the 5th seed. I think the Denver Nuggets will stay afloat. They have 18 games left, I believe, in the regular season. They can still win most of those games, like we saw the other night. They went 3-1 without Jamal Murray. Really, it's just going to be going against the West Point guards. How does Monte Morris stack up? Austin Rivers, if he comes, Facu Campazzo, PJ Dozier. It's going to be really important for those three, especially on the team already. Then if Austin Rivers comes back, we're really going to need some really solid point guard player from all four. I think it even increases the likelihood that we might see a Gerald Green replacement coming onto the team. That way he can step into some of that scoring role, especially that three-point shooting that we're going to need. So again, it's not a great situation, not a fun one at all. Jamal Murray would have an absolutely astounding year. His per 36 numbers, they look like the numbers he had in the bubble. So it's just really tough. Nikola Jokic MVP odds. I think that this is going to strengthen Jokic's MVP odds. I think that he is going to be on a tear the last 18 games of the year because he's going to have to be. I think that's his whole year from playoff last year to the end of this year in the playoffs, it's just going to be a sprint. I think Jokic is going to be tired. He's going to have to go play for Serbia, the Serbian national team, after this as well. So there's going to be a lot that affects him. But I do think that Nikola Jokic wins MVP this year. I think he's going to carry this team. I think out of the next 18 games, you can predict that they're going to win 11-7, 12-6, something like that. I think that would be great. I think that would bolster his MVP odds. If they go 12-6, 13-5, I think that's going to boost it even more. So I think he has a great opportunity. I think this is an opportunity for Aaron Gordon to step in. I think Aaron Gordon can really take over some of that facilitation role more alongside of Monte Morris and others. So I think it works with them. I think Will Barton's going to have to do more and do less. I think Will Barton's going to have to do more facilitating, more playmaking, hit his spot-up jumpers. But I think he's going to have to do less ISO ball because I think the team is going to need him to be able to step in to make sure he's taking care of a lot of the facilitation duties and cutting and all that stuff. So the biggest piece here is Michael Porter Jr. I said this on Twitter, but I think Michael Porter Jr., I think he hits another level. I said this on Twitter. I said that if Jamal Murray is out, there's a chance Michael Porter Jr. becomes a 25 points per game player the rest of the season and into the playoffs. The team won't be better, but I think Michael Porter Jr. gets that Tracy McGrady boost after he left Vince Carter. I think there's a possibility for Michael Porter Jr. to go nuclear, and I think he's going to have to. I think we've seen Michael Porter Jr. evolve into a borderline all-star player over the last 2 months or so, a month and a half. I think Michael Porter Jr. booms into a all-star to an all-NBA caliber player because that's what he's going to have to do. I think the tools he's assembled, I think the ability he has, plus the game knowledge he has now, I think Michael is going to have to take another step. Again, we're still going to have our ups and downs with him, but I think he's going to do it because he has to do it, because the team needs him to do it, and because Jokic needs him to do it. So I look forward to seeing what he does for the next 18 games and being that second dude in the playoffs. We're going to match up with the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns. If we stay in the 4th seed, we're going to match up with Portland Trail Blazers or the Lakers or whomever. So he's going to be necessary. I think the Nuggets offense is still going to be a top 5 offense for the rest of the year. But like I said, I really think Austin Rivers is going to have to make an appearance on this team to make a lot of those changes and substitutions. So the thing is, this is going to affect the Denver Nuggets in the 2021-2022 season. So that's really where the rub comes. Hopefully he can come back on the earlier side and be healthy. You can expect 80% of Jamal Murray next year. He's not going to be as explosive. That's just the nature of ACL. But then next year after that, he will be more explosive. Again, I'm not concerned with ACLs. We have good doctors in America, especially the NBA has great doctors. The surgery is very routine, so it's nothing to worry about there. But it's just going to be how he rehabs, how quickly he's able to come back to 100%. Once again, I saw live in 2014 when Paul George, when he had a compound fracture, when he split his fibula in half. I saw it live when he did it. I saw the bone penetrating from the skin basically with Kevin Ware. And Paul George has come back not only to be a good player, not only to be an all-star player, but that 2018-2019 season, he was 3rd in the MVP vote. So I think Jamal Murray can come back, no problem. It's just going to be about the time that we allocate toward it. So, again, Nuggets, this is not good news. This is not what we wanted to hear. This is not the information we were hoping to hear. But, again, based on the footage last night with the way that the knee buckled, it did look like it was possibly an ACL tear. But, again, the good thing is doesn't seem to be a lot of other damage outside of that, which is the most important thing. So we're going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep making videos. This channel is going to be here. Again, be ready, 4:30 p.m. today, Eastern time. I'm going to try to make the time equitable for everybody. In Denver, it's going to be 2:30. In Serbia, it's going to be around 10:30 or so. So be on the lookout for the video. In Argentina, I think that's going to be around 5:30 or something like that. So be on the lookout for the video, 4:30. And we will be back when the Nuggets come back against the Miami Heat on Wednesday. So love y'all, Swipe It Gang. Not great news. Pray for Jamal Murray, but we will continue to move forward this season. Don't give up hope. Jokic is on an MVP tear. Michael Porter Jr. is going to do something special, and I do think Austin Rivers coming in is going to help facilitate a lot of that loss. So, again, we will be back, and I'll see y'all soon.